Bringing the vision into a mission. This is Global Mission of Peace with the GoldFish Report, October 7th, 2015. I am Radagast, and I'm here with Louisa, our media outreach,
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
and Sanjay, the wonder from down under.
G'day all. Still channeling Captain Hook. There'll be a few hooks today.
And with great pleasure, I also welcome Kev Baker to us. Hello, Kev.
A big hello from Scotland, and thanks for inviting me back, guys.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's great. And of course, the voice of the dragon, the ambassador. Welcome, ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Today we're going to have a very interesting program. We're going to talk about the beast, the 666, and how 555 will be able to overcome it. And basically, to overcome the 555, to be the new implementation instead of 666, we need to destroy the beast. So we're going to talk a little bit about destroying the beast today. And that is basically by waging a war on ignorance. And for many people, we're going to do this at K. Baker's program later. I'm going to share some actually financial data from different countries, so it will be even more obvious, but we're going to start touching on it today. We had a person, his name is Scott Pollack. He's running a program called the Critical Post Chicago, and he had a program coming out yesterday where he's basically showing how the financial system actually is working on a state level, city level area in relations to the taxes and so on and so on. He did a great job to go through all the structures. I recommend everyone, I'm going to put a link to that program here to actually pay attention to listen to it, because it will help all those people who lives in the illusion that, you know, it's no money in the system and doesn't exist that much money. And, you know, by watching it, you will see that, yes, it exists a lot of money. But the cabal don't use that money. They use a small portion of that money and saving it every year to just become bigger in their own bank institutions. Then at the same time, the greedy politicians, you know, doing inside trading, inside moving on everything they do. So they're making themselves multimillionaire during the time when they are acting as supposed caretakers for the people. So it's time for us to either run for office ourselves or to basically do something to hold these people accountable for their own actions. In the normal media, unfortunately, they are not telling the truth. They have, you know, seems like journalism has some form of gauge in front of their mouth and their eyes so that they basically are not allowed to see or talk about this particular problem that we are now addressing. But like in the state of Houston, you have many billions in the pension funds, and they are demanding more and more pensions. But what they do is that they are not using these pension funds. They are basically saving them the collateral from year to year and basically asking people to pay more taxes. And this money is being used on other things and stored and to make the bank institution stronger and stronger. At the same time, they're complaining that we have a financial crisis. Okay. And as I showed to Kev a few weeks ago, an account that I have in London with a lot of zeros on it. And as we explained, with that balance sheet, we could basically save Europe 5 times on, probably the whole world with this amount of money. Okay. But for some reason, they still, you know, this institution will not pay taxes on that money to Britain or to anywhere else where it's kept. So this money is just racing, and it's not being used. At the same time, people are fighting every day to just feed themselves and just in a dream to spend some time with their families. And this is basically, people are talking about that, oh, you know, they're coming to implement the ships, they're coming to implement all this different control fashions on us, and the Antichrist is soon here, and we're gonna just have to accept this and this and this. And this is what I've been saying from the beginning. The Antichrist has been here for a long time, and basically we are living his one world order. And what's important for us now is to create an alternative to this old one world order and create a new world order, okay, which is basically for the people, and not like it is now for the bankers and for the politicians. And so this is what I wanted to talk with you guys about. Also, we want to go into the discussion of what's going on in Europe, what's happening in Syria, what can we expect to see in the near coming future in these events, and how should we deal with it, as we are on daily basis submitted to propaganda, disinformation, and obvious lies. Okay. So with that, I would like to go to the media outreach person to start the program.
Thanks so much, Mr. Ambassador. And it's there is a lot going on in the news, and I think that what we're doing by just exposing the beast and exposing how this financial system is really enslaving us. And this is really why we have the GoldFish report, because we want to wake people up and let them see what's happening, that there's a difference between commerce, which is what the controllers, the cabal on the planet engage in, that keep us in this debt slavery system, versus trade, which is done I mean, according to Randy Kramer, intergalactically. We have trade with other, beings. So, trade is a common thing, and it's something that we just do naturally. But this commerce is what's really keeping us in this debt slavery system that I think the ambassador is going to go into more detail on. But there's also a lot going on with Syria and other issues, and I think that I wanted to ask Kev. Welcome to the show, Kev. Wanted to ask Kev, how is this all being perceived over in Scotland, and with regard to, especially with Putin now taking such a strong action?
So it's great. It's great to join you guys again, and I'll just open up by playing a quick 20-second clip from our UK Defence Minister, and this will show you the line that the UK is taking.
ISIL aren't in the west of Syria. We're analysing each of these strikes, and I can tell you that the majority of these strikes don't seem to be aimed at ISIL at all. They seem to be aimed at opposition groups that are opposed to the brutal Assad dictatorship. And to that extent, Russia is now conniving at propping up that dictatorship, which certainly is unhelpful and is extremely dangerous.
You see, the mask is slowly slipping off over here, because for years we've been led to believe that the problem in Syria has been the ISIS fighters and this kind of caliphate that is forming, and we need to go and deal with them. But in reality, we've always known that it's been the Assad regime. What we're seeing now is Putin, over the past course of a week, showing us what a war on terror should look like. And his foreign minister, he's got it right, because Sergei Lavrov says if it walks like a terrorist, talks like a terrorist, and acts like a terrorist, guess what? It's a terrorist. And the plain and simple truth is we're now seeing the New World Order's proxy army getting destroyed. And I worry, Lou, I really do worry, because at the same time, we've got this ass clown in power over here, David Cameron. He seems to be so far in the globalist pockets that he's determined to take this to the next stage, and he's determined to go back to Parliament to get permission to carry out airstrikes. Now, these airstrikes, this is a bit of a problem here, because Russia, they've implemented a no-fly zone, because they now have S-300 missiles in the region, and with the British base in Cyprus, that negates any airstrikes that Britain can do without the permission of Russia. And I can't see that happening now. But as the ambassador's saying, the 666 system, which is propped up on illusion and fear, it's backed into a corner. And I've been talking about World War III for some months now, and I think it's already been waged on so many different levels with sanctions and everything else. that possibly, my fear is, the West are going to take this to the ultimate next level and go to war. But I would like to get your thoughts on that. And I would love to see that avoided, because whether it's Western bombs, ISIS bombs, or Russian bombs, or Chinese bombs, it's people like you and me that are living underneath them.
Well, Kev, thanks. And what I think, the ambassador is really trying to do here is kind of give people a shaking a little bit, because how many months have we been spending, the United States, going, trying to say, oh, we're going in, it's so hard to find them, we can't find, we never hear that we're taking out any ISIS strongholds anywhere, and they're just, this is strategically difficult, and we can't. And so how long has the U.S. been doing this? Obviously,
4.5 years we've been doing this. And the other day we came so close to World War III that most people don't even realize it.
Yeah.
The Russians were accused of incursion into Turkish airspace. Now, because Turkey are a part of NATO, that could be deemed an aggression against a NATO member, which then invokes one of the articles that says NATO has to come to the defense, which would put NATO right up against Russia. And with all these armies in the area, it's going to be so easy for something to happen that could lead to something absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, it's, and people have to wake up and see this. I mean, and what did Putin do? So Putin goes in there and, he aims on the target, boom, takes them out. And like you were saying, if it walks like a terrorist, if it looks like a terrorist, bomb it, just get rid of it, So Putin is showing leadership.
You know how I like to look at the metaphysical kind of side of stuff as well, Lou.
Yeah.
And we've got ISIS. They've hijacked the goddess's name, okay? I've come up with an acronym to hijack that. And we could have ISIS against Osiris.
There you have it.
How the heck do I get Osiris? Well, you've got the opposition states, Iran, Russia, Iraq, and Syria.
Yeah.
Giving you Osiris.
Absolute. That's great. That's brilliant. That's why we have you on the show, Kev, because you bring us such enrichment.
Something different.
There you go. I wanted to...
hey, Kev.
Go ahead, Radagast.
I just wanted, Kev, I was doing some reading, and apparently the whole Russian incursion into Turkish airspace was handled between Russia and Turks very quickly, because they have a relationship. So the Russians went, oh, sorry about that. The Turks said, yeah, don't do that. It was people like Cameron and others who inflamed the situation. The Russians and Turks made up in 5 minutes over it.
Exactly, Rad. And this is what I'm talking about. Just one little incident like that could be seized upon by the few who do want to take us into a war. But while we're dealing with Turkey, they're playing both sides of the fence as well. Yes. Because instead of bombing IS and terrorist positions, they're continuing a long-held hate against the Kurds. And in reality, the Kurds on the ground are actually an effective fighting force against the terrorists. So Turkey, as with everyone else, playing both sides of the fence.
Well, strategically, this is interesting. Oh, go ahead, Rad.
Yeah, just one final piece. And also there was some mention of the fact that Turkey had extended a 5-mile no-fly zone into Syria to protect themselves, and it might have been that 5-mile zone in Syria itself that Russia intruded into quote unquote Turkish airspace. So there's a lot of nuanced story that nobody's talking about.
Right, they rely on the fact that people have a very short attention span, the GoldFish span, shall we say. And if we think back to when Libya finished and the air quotes, civil uprising started in Syria, which was 10 men on a BBC propaganda film, then where were all the fighters from Libya going? They were going to training camps where? On the Turkish border. Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, all these places. So they were actively training the people that are now inside Syria. And for people out there, this sounds really bad because we're all semi-intelligent on this panel here. Most of the people listening to this show will be as well. But there's a large swathe of the population who don't even know the map. And they don't appreciate the fact that Russia have got an interest in this because it's only Turkey and Azerbaijan and another stan that separates Syria from them. And there's a very real and present danger of these ISIS, Al-Qaeda, whatever you want to call them, globalist Foot Clan soldiers heading for Russia next. So they really do have an interest in the area. And just to round it off, look at the scenes coming out of Syria. That's what a war on terror should have looked like in the weeks after 9/11, if it was genuine.
Absolutely. And, Kev, they said there was reporting that, after, Putin went in there and started taking them out, there was a report that there was over 450, militants surrendering. I mean, that's action. People have to wake up and see that if
And
the U.S.
yesterday,
wanted
Ruth,
to end this, if the U.S. wanted to end this, we would have seen us doing this. And this is an embarrassment for the United States because you have to wake up and see this is not what our country wants. It's what the world wants, but they're not responding to us. And Putin went in there, and he's serious. He's a good leader, regardless of the propaganda that they try to spew in the United States. He's a good leader. We don't have to agree with everything he does, but he's taking action and he's getting results. And that's an embarrassment. What we have to do is wake up and pull the curtain back, and that's what the ambassador wants to do. He wants to pull the curtain back and expose who these controllers are, how they keep us manipulated, how they keep us in a debt slavery system, and how we have to wake up. We have to do our part. The ambassador made the show. He's come out in public to try to inform people, provide funding for humanitarian projects. He's doing his part, but he's not going to, he doesn't have a wand and he's not going to just grant wishes. You have to do your part. And waking up and seeing that we have to collectively take responsibility for this, because this is an embarrassment. If you don't see that the United States has a different agenda from what they're telling you it is, then, then I'm not going to worry about your butt because, you really have to take some personal responsibility. Sanjay, did you have a comment you want to make? I'm sorry, Kev, I cut you off. We'll go back to you.
Not at all, not at all. Sanjay, on you go, man.
Yes, just basically going on from what Kev has said and the ambassador said. Russia knows that NATO would be, and Putin's not stupid. Putin went to Germany, Putin went to France. He sat down with the leaders, worked out what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. The two of the most powerful European nations, two of the most powerful NATO allies. And France has come out openly and said they support Russian naval and Russian action. They can see the shift and change, right? So they would rather have action than inaction, because the other lead that they were part of, Australia's part of it too, America said, we don't know what the end game is. So how can you go to a battle that you don't know end game is? Last time we went to Iraq, it took 10 plus years. This is the problem. Whereas Putin's gone in, and not even a complete week, and there's thousands of the people surrendering and running away. And funny enough, they're running towards the Turkey border. So what is the affiliation with the terrorists in Turkey then? Is the questions we've got to start asking. We've got to look at the facts and we've got to ask the right questions, right? These people are running. So they've been bombing and killing all the things and getting refugees out. Now, when Putin's bombing the real terrorists, they're running home towards Turkey, towards Jordan, towards, all these places they've been trained in, like Kev just mentioned before. So it is, people need to wake up and see the truth. And that also applies to the financial side of the things. As the ambassadors said, the pirate's coming, the hook's out. So in saying that, I'd like to throw it back to the ambassador to...
Yes. Back to the ambassador, absolutely. Thanks, Sanj. I think the ambassador's muted, so we'll have to fix that. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that we're going to have a situation, where in a very short time, maybe even tomorrow, Iraq will open up its airspace to take out ISIS there too for Russia. And we're going to see now it's coming soldiers there. China is getting involved, as I proposed. And also at the same time, we're going to have Iranians. We're going to be able to remove all these ISIS people. Now the question is, what will they do? Will they all go to apply for political asylum in Europe? Or go back to America? Is this people that we want to have in Europe or want to have in America? We need to find a solution. How to deal with these people on ground. We need to have a truth and reconciliation situation set up where people have a chance to retreat and surrender and basically, be pardoned for many of their atrocities, unless they have been doing things that can be tied to them directly for crimes against humanity. But we need to deal with it like we dealt with Bosnia and Herzegovina, in the aftermath of that slaughter. Okay, and as we all know that it's the banking interest, this is all commercial, and this is also in Israel's Great Israel Project, ambition too, to create a Muslim madman of surrounding Israel, which is going to take them down. But at the same time, we also need to fight fundamentalism, and we need to find fundamentalisms in all these countries, and we need to stop the exportation of this Salafi, Wahhabi terrorist mentality that is being fueled since the time of Ronald Reagan, and we need to put a stop for it in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in now all over the Middle East. And I think that other than that, if they don't do it later on, it will be like in the past history. These people will sooner or later go and conquer their own lands too. Many people doesn't know that actually Hamas was created by Israeli Mossad, okay, as an obstacle to fight Palestine and to create the problem with the PLO, okay. Now what we need to do here is that we need to wake up and see the whole picture here, what's really going on, and try to find a solution, okay, an advisory solution to how to deal with all these people. Now the solution is not to bring it to Europe. You see what's happening in Europe now. People is being thrown out of their apartments to make place for refugees, because to have a refugee in your apartment will give much more money than what it would be giving if you have a normal guest there at your place. And all these corruptions that's going on, and this is what we were talking about earlier again with, in relation to Scott Pollack's program. You see that all these companies or corporations that call themselves countries, they're run by the same central banks. They have the same puppets, cabal makers everywhere, wherever we look around. And the only countries that doesn't have it is North Korea and China and Iran and Syria. So you can see that it is a problem now, and this is they're losing control, and they're losing money also at the same time. Now they've been stealing a lot of money with these financial things going back and up and up and down and up and down. But still, do they have a willpower? Do they have a propaganda machine to turn around this whole thing to fight Russia? I doubt it. I think that actually they created the smorgasbord. The smorgasbord is there. All the ignorant masses that was buying into all this Islamophobia and Islam hate, and now, is on the side of Putin. So now, the European leaders don't even have the support of their own things. Their people, majority of the people on the side of Putin. Now you have this guy, very interesting character, Stoltenberg from NATO, a person that I myself have dealt with and worked with in the past. And when I see him talking these days, knowing him from the past, and seeing now, I see that this guy is completely demon possessed. I mean, this guy has sold his soul to the devil, okay? And here you have a guy that used to be a freedom fighter who now has turned into a fucking spokesperson for a satanic, evil machinery. And basically, he's one of the biggest sellouts here in Scandinavian history, including the other Danish retard that used to serve before him. And, it's important for us to safeguard our nations, and most importantly, use our mind and use our power, and most importantly, use discernment. When we're looking at the media, we're looking at the news, we need to look at discernment. We can see some things. For example, we had all these executions going on, we had all the beheadings, we had all these journalists being kidnapped, we had all these terrible things happening. What happened these last weeks? Nothing about that. It seems to me that it's just like a jealous little brother whining and complaining on big brother that did fixed things that he couldn't fix, and now suddenly he is looked upon as a savior. And I think the best thing for United States and for Europe is to do, as I said from the beginning, remit and surrender until it's too late. It's time for repentance now. Okay, you have to do what you're supposed to do. Remit, surrender to the family control, do what is told to you, follow the guidelines that was done at the United Nations, follow the guidelines that has been instructed for you since 2012. And also, you know, we had this asteroid coming our way, supposed to kill us off. That was also, again, dismantled by the Russian Space Command. And, you know, over and over again, we are being saved by Putin. And he's supposed to have the Nobel Peace Prize for last time he saved the Syrian crisis. Now he should have it again. But no one will give him the Peace Prize. They're probably going to give it to some other retard that probably haven't done anything positive in the history. And now we have a guy who has the Peace Prize that the first thing he do is bombing another Peace Prize winner, you know, in Afghanistan. I mean, their missions, what they're doing is falling on their face because God is not with them anymore. Okay, 555 will replace 666. The beast is going down. Repurpose yourself before it's too late and repent. This is my final warning to you all. If you want to continue, you want to flare up a third world war, you will be taken down and you will be remembered in the history as some of the most retarded people in the history of humanity. And you will be hanged on the street from the light poles by your own citizens. So it's time now. You know, as I heard some rumors that it's soon again a new base jumping contest coming up without parachutes, and you know, you guys could be in that competition, or you could do something right and don't need to step up and, you know, stand side by the dove. Okay, so this is a very, very serious warning I'm giving you guys. And you know, you can try to hurt us and we're going to take you down 9 generations. But most importantly, repent now and we'll forgive you, and repurpose yourself. And that's a very simple message that I have to do. We are doing a lot of things right now, and I know that you are in the fingers of disturbing and blocking things. It's time for you guys to surrender, okay? Because the new alternative Swiss system will be up and running now, and then you guys gonna lose 5 trillion every day just for supporting a group of extremely retarded people that I don't know who the hell put in power in the first place. But unfortunately, we have these savages in our governments and they need to be removed. I feel sad when I see people congratulating and sharing on people like Sarah Palin and similar type of imbeciles. And it shows that how low our world has gone. And you have a new you know, now people are going to get angry to me. I'm not a racist, but I have to just use that word, Hausnigger, because that's basically what that Ben Carson is, okay? And, you know, to vote and support him is the most racist thing you could ever do, okay? Because you have to look at him for who he is. It's the same thing with Obama. Everyone call him a Muslim, everyone call him black, but his mother is white, and he called himself a Christian. So basically, that's what he's coming from. You understand? Now you think that that's supposed to be a great change. It doesn't going to change by a change in the color. The imperialism, you know, is so deep inside these people. It doesn't matter what color you're using, whatever sex you're using. It's the same sick, wicked people. For years, they've been living on the fake lie system, creating millions and millions and millions for the time of retirement and for their families, being politicians. You know, we should do a great financial report on all the leaders to see and ask them, where the hell did you get that money from? This is insider trading. What they do, normal people go to jail for. Okay? Why are they always not facing anything for the crimes that they are committing? And why? Because we allow them to do so. And I believe that we have good people in the police everywhere in the world. Although you can think differently after watching all this police in America beating up people in wheelchair and whatever they do. But I believe that you have good people in every institution in the military. And I think it's time that the military take the response, because they are most of the time the one that really cares for the people of a nation. And maybe it's time to do something like they did under General Kiani, clean up the political mess that we have here in Europe and America, and implement a new leadership that actually cares for the people, that is for the people, and not something that is basically put as a puppeteer in a fake illusion of democracy. And I always hear this story repeated over and over and over again that, oh, you know, Russia is having only support from Syria and the rest of the world is with us. I mean, listen, the rest of the world is not United Kingdom. You have to wake up, Mr. Obama, and realize that the world is not with you anymore and have not been with you guys for a very, very long time. Stop living in Disneyland. Okay? It's time for you guys to either do what's right or being alienated in your own nation and be living as a new dictatorship country, a new fascist type of state. And that's what you're heading for. And as long as the people are too busy watching baseball games and football games and busy in trying to work 3 or 4 jobs just to put food on your table, and you're not going to be able to do what you need to do. Okay? Now, a lot of people is talking about, the family with the funds and the humanitarian projects. With that comes sacrifice. With that comes work. Okay? People can find out everything about us as long as you are with us. I don't feel any type of need for go out on YouTube and sharing things with you guys, which you're still not even going to be able to understand in the first place. You need to come and join the symposium, join our workshops to learn how to get yourself where you need to be. Okay? And I think it's wonderful that we have people like Kev Baker and many others who tirelessly do their best to try to tell you guys what's happening around the world in a proper way. You understand? And with all respect to Scott Pollack at the Critical Pulse Chicago, I mean, it was a masterpiece what he did. And if you look at it, then you will see and understand how it works in America. And then you can start asking yourself why I'm paying all these fucking taxes, why I'm feeding this beast. And then people are going to start wake up and maybe say, oh, the beast is already here. You're waiting for the Antichrist. Oh, when is he coming? When is he implementing the ship? When he's doing this? He's here already for a long time. Okay? So it's time for you guys to start waking up and start defeating the beast. And the only way to defeat the beast is by making yourself free in your mind, educate yourself, see if it is, and spread that knowledge to all people around you. Okay? And if we don't do that, then we can sit here and watch our politicians destroy the world as much as they can. And when I was watching what happened with the seed bank, the excuse to need to go into the seed bank now for something, this is a very worrying thing. What are they trying to do now? They want to keep the world in hostage again. Okay? I know the games, I know their plans, what they've been creating and what they want to do, but this time is over. It's game shack, Matt. It's over. Do the new thing, follow the new era, and rest assured, we are not here to be hostile. We are here to liberate humanity. Kev, do you have any questions for me specifically?
Well, Lou's
I'm
actually
sorry.
muted up there.
I'm
That's
muted.
okay.
Yeah, I
That's
did it
okay,
again.
Lou.
Go ahead, Kev. I know you're on the edge of your seat.
No, what I was going to say there, Ambassador, is we're giving them another chance to surrender again. And I really do want to see a peaceful resolution to all of this. I would love to see the Truth and Reconciliation Councils all set up and running. But has there ever been a discussion of what may be a red line or a trigger event that would make the Dragons and somebody else or another group maybe say, to hell with waiting?
Yeah. Well, what I just wanted to say here is this is a very important question you made, because actually we already said to them that we had enough a few weeks ago, okay, and we're gonna act. Europe and America has a fashion that, oh, this is our red line, don't pass our red line. You have passed our untoken red line long time ago, okay? That's why it's nothing that's gonna change other than that you guys are gonna change. If you don't want to change, the mercy that you can have will turn into something terrible. And it's something that I do not wish on anyone. And that's why I think it's very, very important that these people now at this point wake up, because we're coming after you, okay? And this is not something that we want to do, but we will. And the people will come after you and they will cherish you. The countries that want out of the European Union, the countries that want independence. We say that we are democracies, we're respecting people's will. We do not. Let people be free. Let people do whatever they feel is good for them in their own community. Okay? If these crazy people wants to have an Islamic state, they want to stay there and killing each other right, left, and center, we can find the places are and make
Ambassador,
make a line around.
we could send them to Saudi Arabia. There's already a functioning caliphate in there. They can get stoned for looking at people in the street. On they go.
Yes, I mean that's would be the best thing. But they, as they say, they don't want to have psychologically sick people. They want to send them to Europe. But the thing is this way: it's time for us to send them where they belong. If they want to have their own little land where they can destroy themselves and kill themselves as they like, let them do so. But for the people who doesn't want to be included in that, leave people alone. Otherwise, we need to go after you. You understand? And this is what we see here. I mean, we saw the situation with the king of Dubai's son passing away. I hope he will take the correct decisions to honor his son's life. Okay? And God knows who was behind that thing, because I don't think it was a natural death. But I really hope and pray that people do the right thing now. We have all this medical technologies that is free, the one that I was testing out for some days, and other things that we've been doing. And, we have everything we need to set this planet right. As long as we're going to have the people on our side to do what we need to do it. And we need the consent of the people and the support of the people in all nations to basically disassemble this evil tyranny that has been having us under its power for over 200 years.
Well, part of achieving that, I think, is getting the message out through channels like the GoldFish Report and also the Kev Baker Show and the other types of platforms that are really trying to speak the truth. There's definitely been an infiltration in the alternative media with people who really are trying to just make alternative media look bad. So not all alternative media should be looked at equally. But you do have to do what the ambassador is saying. The ambassador gave a very, very passionate rant just a few minutes ago. And it's very important that people realize that the ambassador is talking on many different levels. So some people who view this report will get certain things out of it, while others will get other things out of it. So there's many messages here for many different kinds of people who are viewing this. So if you think that you don't understand what some of this is about, you always have the option to come and join us in our symposium. And you can do that by going to www.cbcglobaleducation.com, and you can register for the symposium there. We invite you, in fact, to come and to see what we are about and to join us because we really have no other alternative. Your options are really more war or peace. There's really no other alternative. And Sanjay, did you have a question or comment? I think you're muted.
Yes, yeah. Lou. As you can see with the things, they're breaking at the seam because they're now investigating how did ISIS get all these brand new Toyotas, right? So there has to be a massive conspiracy behind there because, this terrorist group in the middle of the desert driving brand new Toyotas, and not one or two, but kilometers long of them, in convoy. So as the ambassadors said, and you've talked about, it's a multi-layered truth. So some things might affect individuals that they need to wake up and take action, but there's other stuff that's aimed at people in power in government, people in power in financial industry. You know who you are, right? He's spoken to you directly, and please remit and surrender, because as we are going to the new paradigm, the peace.
Are you there, Sanj? Kev,
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you, I know you've been on the edge of your seat. The ambassador really went on for quite a while with so many interesting points. And I know I apologize that you didn't really get a chance to kind of interject and comment on each one of them. So I wanted to pass it over to Kev, because I know Kev's got probably quite a few comments after what the ambassador had said.
One of the things the ambassador said was about the police and how there's probably a lot of good police out there. Maybe 90% of the police, I believe, are probably good. But of course, the media, they control everything. And it's all to form hate and division. And that's why we see all these brutal cases on the news. I wish they would do a section at night showing all the old people they maybe help. People that they don't even get called out to help, but help when they see them anyway. And that would give a fairer representation of the people that we need to join us. We can't be dividing ourselves from the police and the militaries at these times, because they are real people like us as well. And they're being used as tools by this beast system. That is exactly what is happening to these people. They're under a form of mind control, and the media, they orchestrate it all so that we form our ideas about them. And we can look at the hate that is around, especially in your country, Lou, right now. They would love nothing better than some kind of police against civilian war. And what does that do? That distracts us from the people and the system that the ambassador is trying to unveil. It's absolutely critical that people listen to this man and this message at this time. And I know there's still people out there that doubt that. But there's also people out there that have some of the crazy ideas out there. You've seen them all, guys. Come on. But this guy, the ambassador, all I can say is we listen to him, keep an open mind. And myself and the guys on the GoldFish report, we have seen some of the documents and some of the information that does tell me that what we're dealing with here is absolutely genuine. So let's cast out that doubt and let's take a chance. And as Lou said, this is the only other option. It's war or peace.
Yeah, and really, Kev, I mean, what you're saying is that the media, and people have to realize that the media is their masters. The ambassador has said, am I muted again? No, okay. The ambassador has said that these guys have a PhD in deception. And so what they do with the media is they control our perception. This is how the mind control works. And for any of you who think this is just too bizarre, then you're being mind controlled, because they control our perception. If you think about what the media does, it presents a position, it presents a perception of something, and it presents it so that you see it the same way they do. So it is manipulation at its core.
And
And
Lou, we can even demonstrate that to people,
yes,
because if they want to listen to the news at night and then go into work the next day, listen to all the same words that people use from the news when they're just having a normal conversation about what's going on in the world. It's literally seeded their ideas and their thoughts without them realizing it.
right, word for word, sound bites. It's really, they do kind of, you hear them repeating the same thing. And I've seen it recently myself. If, people who, were just at a social gathering and you're having a conversation, and it's amazing just how the propaganda works. And they know it works. That's why they keep using it. And it's
We
very
were talking
successful.
before the show about how we're trying to be something different, alternative media, GoldFish Report, Kev Baker Show, my home network over at Truth Frequency Radio. We should really start calling ourselves the real media, because we're just trying to do a real job. It's not easy. We're going to get it wrong sometimes because we're human, but we're not media. We're not trying to make you think a certain way. We're just trying to make you think for yourselves.
Well, that's true. That's what the ambassador is trying to do. He's trying to help people to empower themselves. If you're looking for a handout, then you're not going to empower yourself. You're not going to realize you need to take responsibility. The hardest thing to do is to motivate people. It really is. And that's really what the ambassador is trying to do. He's trying to say, here's an alternative. We've had 666. Now we want to implement 555. Here's an alternative. And you have to make the choice, though. He wants to empower you to make that choice. He's not going to make it for you. Somebody's not going to rapture you. The ambassador is not going to rapture you. You have to make the choice. It's about your free will, and it's about you making the choice. You can't make the choice if you're not informed. And I'm going to ask Sanjay if you have a comment you want to make.
Yep. Just going on from what you said, Lou, with regards to handouts. Now, the beast, the 666 beast, wants people to be dependent, like the food stamps, like all this, so they can control and cut you out. Guys, they've made movies about this called Hunger Games and stuff, where you got to kill each other to get what you want. That's just stupid. This is where we're leading to. You guys got to wake up and see, right? They're trying to put people on food stamps and welfare and this, that, and the other, right? Ambassadors trying to say, let's get off that. The old beast system, let's get rid of it, and let's move on to the new paradigm, the 555, which will overcome the 666, and it will change. So this is where you step up and you take charge of your life, right? Don't worry about changing the world. Change yourself. If each individual or even 1 in 100 change themselves, guys, we're going to be changing the world, right? So don't start thinking it's a very big thing. Focus on yourself, one at a time.
The hard part is that it just challenges people's view of reality, and it's very hard to do that, and that's why Kev was saying before, cognitive dissonance. Okay, so when you start experiencing real discomfort, when you put your hand close to the fire, what do? You pull back. But psychologically and emotionally, especially emotionally, if we put ourselves close to an emotionally charged topic, we tend to pull back. We don't want to look at it. We put our blinders on. We want to live in denial because it's more comfortable. So the thing is that we are creatures of habit. We like to be comfortable. And I think it's our birthright to be, but we're not in that dimension right now. We are dealing with duality. We are dealing with people with agendas that are not for humanity. So we do have to do something different. So what we're doing is not changing anything. We can't continue with the war. And that's that's the only option our government is giving us. Like Sanjay says, keep you dependent on the government, create the problem, reaction, solution. Problem is they created these economic conditions. The reaction is, oh, help me, help me. The solution is, well, I'll give you these handouts. So you can, and so instead of you helping yourself and taking care of yourself, you're looking for handouts. And I'm not disparaging anybody who has to be in that position, who finds himself in a position where they need to ask for help. Because at some point in life, everybody has to ask for help, because sometimes circumstances are beyond somebody's individual control. But that's what we're here for. We are the good Samaritans to each other. If we just embrace that, then we don't need to have the war. We don't need to keep allowing them to make profit on the war, on the killing. And don't forget, there's a Satanist component to this, where all this death and killing and suffering feeds an energetic demon that they worship. So if it's an ugly truth, but it's the truth, and if you don't want to see it, then you're going to be part of the problem and not part of the solution. And I wanted to ask Radagast, or actually, I'll go to the ambassador.
No, I see, and what I see in the future is, we talked about this alternative media, and what I see with alternative media is that they are somehow soliciting themselves, because if you look at Alex Jones, he has to solicitate his mindset with his fear mongering. You have people with not saying that things that he's doing is not always good, but sometimes it's like a machinery. He speaks out. And same thing with like this Glenn Beck, which by my opinion I consider almost as a challenged person. And when you look at it, this guy is they're having their parties, like the Tea Party and their Republican extremists that believe in all these things with the gun laws, and like to keep you focus on things that actually in reality has no importance, okay, and freedoms that in reality are not freedoms. And so the thing is this way, is that we need a media that doesn't talk about what we are thinking or what they're thinking. We're talking about facts here. It's like when they put the British Prime Minister in front of this journalist, and he put the right questions to him. He couldn't answer, because how the fuck he could justify that to put the Saudis in the Human Rights Council? Okay, no one would buy his story, and his excuses are weighing. If we put all our politicians under this type of scrutiny, very soon everyone would see what type of hypocrites these guys are, and they would be forced to be removed. Okay, and that's what we need to do. We need to hold these people accountable for what they do, including the media. Okay, so that's why it's important, I think, that we have to start this grassroots level of, like, what's called trying to empower people, one person per person. And after a while, it will be a big movement. And the negative thing, I think, that is against both me and Kev and others, is that we need more people to spread our message in different other languages than only English, so that other Europeans and other people from other parts of the world can engage in the battle to set humanity free. Because as it is now, a small minority calling themselves international community basically control the whole international community and hold them hostage, and that's not fair.
And Lou is muted up again. But see, I've got your back, Lou.
You've got my back, Kev. Thank you so much. This is one of those days. But Kev, what do you know, how is people's perception? Are people waking up over there in Scotland? I mean, your viewers, you have quite a viewership there. I mean, obviously they resonate with your message, but do you find that there's like a lot of, is it difficult? I heard Ireland's really having a lot of progress.
Ireland have
is
all
it?
but been gobbled up by the EU superstate. Now, Scotland's a very strange place because this time last year we were just after the faux chance of having our own revolution and breaking away from London. Now, it was mass scenes of political awareness and people were out on the streets and it was really brilliant. It really, really was. However, it was all an illusion again. Now, we had that referendum rigged. It was actually openly rigged, so we got to see that it was rigged. And that sent everyone back to sleep. Now, I would love to say that there's a mass awakening. I don't see it massively. It's like everywhere else. You can sow the seeds, you get laughed at, and a few months later, maybe these same people will come back and say, you know, you might just be right. You don't sound so silly anymore. Unfortunately, I don't see a mass uprising. People are so dumbed down, they're so programmed by the television, the food, the drink, the education system. Everyone, we can't blame people for being asleep. We really can't. And sometimes when we talk about people being sheep, it kind of rankles me because basically they're just products of the system. They're exactly the way that they're meant to turn out. Okay, we woke up, but we have to be patient with these people because, like the ambassador says, it's only the people that can change this. Now, I have to go to the ambassador for just a moment because he mentioned the seed vaults. Now, over on the Kev Baker show, we've been covering the fact that they are now basically able to create synthetic biological life from digital code on a computer. When we're talking about the seed banks on the planet, something that is absolutely critical to our survival and longevity going into the future from natural disasters and everything, I'm interested to know what the ambassador was meaning when he said he knows what plans they have. What were you meaning there, ambassador?
No, the thing is this way, is that this seed bank was created as a safe haven for the cabal, okay? And for them, when they were taking out and keeping 30% of human population, the rest should be dying in a catastrophic event, that seed bank should be what's called like the Noah's Ark to rebuild the planet afterwards with all the technologies that we have. At the same time, they should hide. During 2012, they tried to hide there and create this 2012 event. And the Russian Navy basically took over the island. And of the reason there, the whole plan for 2012 didn't go as it was expected. And they've been trying to kickstart different type of things over and over, with that again. And what is important here is that what I think is that what they want to do is to remove things from there, to make Russia and China and other countries feeling that if they destroy their region, it will be no way to reconciliate or fix the problem because now they have control over fixing that problem. You understand what I mean? No one should be allowed to enter that vault. Anyone that wants to go in there to do something should be shot on spot. Okay? And basically, it should be international from all nations engaging in protecting that place because that's protecting humanity and our species. And when we're having people coming there with no good reasons at all and want to take things out, probably taking it to Denver, Colorado, or to some other similar places to have in different parts of the world, and then basically keeping a certain part of the world hostage. These criminals needs to be put in hold, and we need to hold them, accountable. Okay, because the game plan is they want to create a third world war. They want to create destruction of the Middle East, and they want Russia to destroy the United States, basically. And they want they want to fulfill the prophecy when the king of South attacks the king of North, and he will come with river winds and burn the whore of Babylon in 3 hours with nuclear weapons. And after that, we need to rebuild the world. And they want to be in control and holding the things that When the world needs to be rebuilt, they are in control again.
Ambassador, I
that's
don't think there's any peaceful resolution to a group of people with a mindset like this. Violence is the only thing I think these people understand.
Yes, but this is why I'm saying that. That's why I think that the base jumping contests needs to be implemented, because the thing is this way is that if these people will be taken care of, okay, personally, they will not do it. But when they can hide behind some soldiers to do their dirty jobs, not probably even aware what they're doing, then we have a problem. That's why it's important for the soldiers and everyone else to know what is in the plan of these people, to basically make sure not to implement the plans for them. You understand? And that's where our message is coming out very importantly, because people doesn't realize what actually is going on. They don't understand the covenants that was signed by all nations. And this covenants, is being removed. But at the same time, some people are holding on to it as the only solution to fulfill Bible prophecy. And then again, we come into religious fundamentalism and psychosis. And that's something we need to put a stop to. And you saw like there were so many doomsday prophets out here for the fourth moon and Jesus is returning and all those different things. And my recommendation is that they should actually take whatever they earn from these stupid books and for the false prophecies and donate it to the poor people and to the refugee crisis and other incidents. And I think it's time also for the nations, I mean, that's being traumatized, like, for example, the Iranian nuclear deal. I think that the Iranian nuclear deal can be saluted in a way where you give a right to the people of that nation. And if the people of that nation will have control, no one needs to worry for anything. The only time we're living in a dangerous state is when religious fundamentalists, either if they're Muslims or Christians or Jewish or Satanists, masquerading as Christians and Muslims and Jews, then it's we're having a problem. So that's where we need to basically step in and do the shift and change. And I believe that both the president of China and the president of Russia and other people in the BRICS nations, have that. I think the biggest problem we have in the BRICS nation is that in some parts of this new alliance, you have a deep-rooted Kabbalistic mindset going on for hundreds of years that needs to be removed. But I believe that by time, they will be forced basically by common sense to do the right thing.
Well, one place that's giving us a little example of, how they're trying to really kick the cabal out is Iceland, and they seem to be doing a really good job. Now, Kev, I'm sure you report a lot of this on your show. What have you?
Oh, Iceland is hysterical. Do you know, back at the time when they started actually threatening, back when they threatened to arrest the bankers, they were actually saying that Icelanders were going to be considered terrorists and they were going to ban them from flying to the UK. One last question, though, I need to ask the ambassador, and it's something I get asked all the time. What if, just what if, what we're watching right now in Syria and everywhere else is all orchestrated? And there's people out there are going to ask, with the dragons and China, could it be that we're actually seeing a handing over of the torch? It's just going to be one face of the New World Order swapped for another. And that's not my question, Ambassador, but that's a question I have to feel.
I believe that in that assessment, you're right, okay? Because we have to look at the situation here, is that all the world leaders understand that if we need to make a global impact to save humanity, it has to be on a global scale, you understand? And we need to replace that old world order with just the 666 with something better, with a 555. But we're basically the people of the planet, depending on how big they are, how many population they have, should have a more common voice. United Nations needs to be working in a proper way. The problem is the United Nations has not been working for many, many years. It has just been like a mouthpiece of distortion, okay? It's time that these international communities and international agencies like the Criminal Court in Hague and many other things, that we can take actually politicians that has committed crimes against humanity, and that they would be arrested and tried. And I know that most of the politicians wouldn't pass such a trial. And basically, we need to implement these things. The only way to do that is that we need to implement it with a new world order. And now I'm not talking about George Bush's new world order, but a world order that represents the wishes of the people on this planet. Okay, it cannot anymore be like that 1% control the whole world. You understand? And that's what we're having today. So, you know, and to believe that, you know, we don't need to do a change of power, you know, it's an illusional thing, because we saw with, you know, with the Eastern Bloc countries, you know, when they just be free overnight, what happened with prostitution, what happened with criminality, what happened with oligarchies, people just stealing and looting whatever they have. We need to have some form of order in the society in the transition time, okay? And then from there, we have to build up and rise up as humans to develop an institution that is global, that is correct, and that serves all people on this planet. And I think that's very, very important, okay? But at the same time, you know, people is always scared for changes, okay? And, you know, we already went through the old world orders changing capacity of, with all the security things they put in mind and all the millions that they're killed. And it was a failed process, okay? So we need to do a new process that will not fail and where people doesn't need to die as a part of that process. And that's very important.
Right. One of the things I think what Kev was saying is I think people are afraid that we're just looking to replace this with a Cabal 2.0. And we don't really want to.
Yeah, that's what I always been saying. I said, we don't want to change Coca-Cola with Coca-Cola Light. You understand?
Right, exactly. But we want to look at the places that are already making these changes. And Radagast, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
Well, yes, I've actually spoken on this. I call it the new boss, same as the old boss meme. And it doesn't help that, you know, the popular culture kind of, you know, the Who used that in a song of theirs, you know, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And so there's kind of like this little psychological implant in people that this is a switch, a bait and switch, where, you know, that the new, like the China and Russia will be just the same thing that's going on, except it's been switched from one country, one power base to the other. And I think President Xi's speech at the UN spoke to what really this new world order would be. And it's one of win-win. It's about sovereignty. And also President Putin mentioned it in his speech. I mean, it is a very different world order that we've had and have been developing up until now. There's really not much else you can call it except a new world order. I mean, it is the order of where we're reordering the world. It's new. So people have to get over the fact that Pappy Bush had used that phrase. And we have to also, this is part of reclaiming the world. Yeah, they used that phrase 20 or 30 years ago, and now it's being used again. We need to reclaim it and make it wholesome and not be afraid of it. And let people, you know, people need to be flexible enough to realize, okay, yeah, they had used it, but now we're using it a different way. Because people, again, I've occasionally,
sorry for butting in, but this is a perfect example for you. I've actually got a logo for the Kev Baker show that you will see is a pyramid. Now, they've hijacked our words and our symbols, and we do have to reclaim them. And the amount of people who claim to be awake yet attacked me for selling out to the Illuminati for using that triangular symbol is astonishing. And that's the level of control people are under from the words and the symbols that have been used.
Right. You said weaponized language. Is that a phrase you're coining?
That's what I call it. Yeah, it's like the political correctness. They've taken words and they've turned them into weapons, and we even have to watch now. We self-censor what we say.
Are they sitting there laughing at us?
I would say so.
Sanj, what do you think? Do you think that are they taking just pleasure in watching what they're doing to humanity? Are they sick? Are they have no souls? Why are they doing this?
because yeah, that power has gone to the head. I mean, these guys, as Ambassador said, there's billions of dollars, like trillions and gazillions of dollars, right? So when you have all the money in the world and you don't have any need for money, what do? You start playing with people, real lives. We have become toys for them, right? They don't care if a plane goes missing, right? And people die. They don't care if a bomb falls down and people die, right? It's a game. How many can we kill? As you said, like this seeds that they're taking out, it's basically, we all know, right, what the old New World Order that Bush said was reducing the population. We can only feed a billion people. I mean, hello, we've got 8 billion people in the world. We have enough money and enough technology, enough land to be able to feed everyone and more. But no, we're not going to use that, because let's have a war. That's a better thing. You know, it's about time we changed it, right? Yes, they are having a go at us. Now, about time we had to go, right? I mean, Kev's on the show, so I'm going to use a cricket analogy. Well, they've had the win in the first innings. Let's pick up the bat and the ball. Let's go win the second innings, right? Let's go have a go. Let's win the second innings. Let's change it. Let's take the game to them.
Well, let me ask the ambassador the same question. You know, why are they sitting there laughing at us, and why are they?
I think that they have stopped laughing now and start taking things serious this last 2 years. And I think that they see also that some of their own people is being taken out by someone. And, you know, and this is, you know, a warning they have to them that it will continue, okay? And at one point of time, when all the troops come forward, it will be like your Senior says, they will take the people out on the streets and hang them in the light poles, okay?
Right.
That's how serious crimes against humanity they've been doing on us, both here in Europe and in America. And I think that, you know, this is what they need to really fear. They have now the chance to repurpose themselves. They have now the chance to do what's right for the people. They have the chance now to repent. And they also scared for the power of the people, because the only thing that they keep them intact with, that have been keeping them intact with, is the TV. It's basically the one eye that everyone looking at every day. It's the TV. They control you through the TV. They control you through their media. They keep you in constant fear. They keep you in constant aggression and in constant lack. You know, it's like countries that has all this money that basically everyone could live a lifestyle as a millionaire, but still the forces for people to live there as worse than they do in another country. And it's like, for example, me in the old days, I was buying medical equipment and wanted to give to poor countries. And then when I go to this poor country, the stupid minister tells me, oh, we cannot buy it because it's used product, but the product is basically cleaned and repurposed and sealed, and has only been in activity for 3 years. This could save thousands of lives. You know, why? Because they have to buy new things from the pharmaceutical companies. We need to take charge now. You know, in some countries where you have free medical care, they use machines for 2 or 3 years and then put them in a security house and no one is using them. This one can save lives. So, you know, we have to start, actually doing something. They could sell it for a small marginal price and it could help the whole humanity. But people don't have no interest of helping people because it's all about making money for the corporations. And when people wakes up that the only thing that matters on the planet is to make money from the corporations, and you guys are just slaves, and your family members have died of different diseases that they never needed to die for, and they have been suffering for months and years, people, without a reason. Okay? And the things is all around you. It's like I said before, God is all around you. Just open your eyes. It's like, for example, you feel pain, you feel hunger, you feel anxiety, but you cannot touch it. Okay? But still it's there. It's real. The same thing is with the creators. The same thing is with our situation. We can deny the existence of the tyranny and live with it, or we can say that we had enough of this. And we will do whatever we can to hold our politicians accountable because they're supposedly are there to serve us. And we can put in own corporation, own researchers that gonna go and check through their accounts and check where the money is in all their hidden spaces where they have. And when they're not going to declare how they get that money and how they became so rich, and how, it's like you just use your imagination. A politician knows when something is supposed to be commercialized. He has go in and buy that property. He just invest in that. They do inside trading. If we would do this inside trading as they do, we'll go to jail. But the politicians are not being arrested. We have not seen anyone being arrested. That's why it's a very important thing, extremely important thing. Okay, that people take charge. Okay, that they take charge and take responsibility for their actions.
Isn't this following the yellow brick road? I mean, this is the Wizard of Oz, and what we're trying to do here on the GoldFish Report and what Kev Baker's show tries to do is to pull back the curtain, because it's all smoke and mirrors, and we don't know that. And you think the ambassador might just be, shooting off the cuff, speaking off the cuff. He knows. There's things he knows that you don't know. He knows. And when he says these things, people should really wake up and listen and hear what he says, because this is not just his opinion. This is an educated opinion, which is
it's not only that, it's facts. It's facts.
Facts.
And you can continue to try to think it doesn't exist, it's not real, but unfortunately it is real. And it is and it is facts.
Exactly, okay. But it's the curtain. We're trying to pull back the curtain for people. You can't sit there and say, I didn't know. We're trying to inform people, and we're doing the best we can. And what we need for each one of you to do, for all of our viewers and all of Kev Baker's viewers, and everybody who views this from different sites that I post on really all over the planet, we would really love for you to repost this and send it to 5-10 people that you know, and pass that along and just repost it and make this viral, because what we really need to do is spread the word. We have to pull the curtain back, but we need your help to do that. We need to pull the curtain back and show who's really in control, and it's just a controller. It's, this big scary Oz is what, if they give us the perception that we have something to fear, then they can control us. That's why they control our perception. They know if they keep us in fear, they can control us. It's really that simple. It's Psychology 101. It is so simple, but it is so difficult for us to see, because we've just been so manipulated. We're so entrenched in programs, old programs, and traditions and things, that it's very hard for us to kind of get ourselves out of the goldfish bowl, quite frankly, and look outside the box, because we have to take a collective. We just keep beating this over and over again, this drum over and over again, about how we each individually have to do this. We can't wait for somebody else to do it. It's like, my kids, I see, my daughter, I tell them to go do something, and they both sit there, because they're each waiting for the other one to do it first. And that's, and everybody who's grown up with siblings knows that's what you do. You don't act until your siblings do it. So the funny thing is, you can't wait for somebody else to do it. You have to be the one to do it. And it's usually the older child who I put the responsibility on, because they have to, what, am I muted again? No, okay. Because they have to be the one to be the role model. Yes, Radgast.
Okay, this is so I can really come off on that, because work off of that, because I feel right now a lot of people in the world community have not been happy with what is considered the international community that Obama speaks about, and they're like children waiting for other children to act. And what we're seeing now is Iraq is now asking Russia to get involved in their ISIS problem. And this is kind of like, now that Syria did it and they see other countries doing it, it's because in many ways, the superpowers are the parents, and the ones who aren't superpowers are kind of almost like children or vassals. And I really feel by Russia stepping up to the plate the way they have, now the other children are starting to move and starting to realize, oh, they're doing it, I'm going to do it too. And what they're doing is going, hey, Russia, can you help us out? And this is creating a shift this very week. I mean, here we are, we're in the middle, it was 2 weekends ago that we had Putin's speech at the UN and that whole convocation there. But the world has shifted since that meeting. And I don't know if people know that today there were 24 missiles launched into Syria by Russia from the Caspian Sea, 1,500 miles away. And all the cruise missiles hit their target. And kind of what that's stating is not only can we offer protection, we can now do it from our own homeland. Like in other words, they only have so many missiles in the Mediterranean Sea. If they used them, they would be out of stock. Now they're doing it from the Caspian Sea, where they can restock whenever they want. So they're really demonstrating to the people, if you want to get free of this menace, we're there for you. And the menace, and it hasn't been the United States directly, it's been the United States using its proxies, and especially ISIS. And so now, I mean, again, Iraq allowed its airspace to be used for the cruise missiles to come from the Caspian Sea. Of course, Iran did also. But I think we're going to see more and more people stepping out from under the vassalship of America, of NATO America, I'll call it, and just saying we want to be free, because now they know that's what will be supported.
Well, thanks, Radagast. You're absolutely right. And you know what? We're coming to pretty much the end of our show today, and it's really a very, very powerful message from the ambassador. And we can't thank Kev Baker enough for joining us and giving us his wonderful acumen and his perspective on world events.
Honestly, guys, it's an absolute pleasure. And to anyone listening to this, if you listen to my show, these people right here are 110% genuine. Absolutely. I can't encourage everyone enough to share this information. And I hope you guys continue what you're doing. We can all work together, because you really are. We always say on TFR that if you want to be the change, go and look in the mirror. When I look at you guys, you are definitely affecting change.
We hope so, Kev.
I want to say one last thing here to everyone. I was confronted by my son, about 1 year ago, and he was looking at me, and he was listening to the phone calls with me and the family and things that we were doing. And basically, he knows, for his future, and basically he said to me, he looked at me in a weird way, and he said, "Daddy, are you Illuminati?" And basically, I said to him that, listen, the Illuminati are slaves, or our servants, or whatever you want to call them, and they have to do what we are saying. And now I'm telling them, and very simple, I said this before, that I want everyone, the Illuminati, the cabal, the politicians, whoever it is, military people, everyone, wherever you are, everyone listening to this program, to ask yourself a question. What should I tell my son? And what should I tell my children? We have a chance to save humanity, and we are holding the future of our children in our hands. We are ultimately responsible for their safety and for their life. I know that some people doesn't love their own lives, but sometimes they love their own children. So for the sake of the children of this planet, I hope and pray that we will all unite here and do what's right for them. And like I said so many times, look yourself in the mirror. I do it. I'm not a perfect person, as well as many others, but at least I'm trying my best to change it one by one. So with that, I want to thank everyone that has come here today, and God bless you all, and hope to see you back together very, very soon.
Thank you so much. That's why we love this man, because he's so humble. He can admit that he, is not perfect. Who can do that? How many people can really do that? And he says it so matter-of-factly, like not in a defensive way. And he's, I think in our last GoldFish report, referred to him as, really a teddy bear, a man with a really wonderful, beautiful heart. Today he was a bit of a grizzly, and he needed to be, because he needed to get a very strong message out. And we really hope that you all got that message, because it's really, we have to save ourselves. How else can we say this? So we really are so grateful that we have the ambassador here to do this, because who else is doing this? We have Kev, doing his part. And what Kev was saying also is that we all have to do our share. We all have to do our part. We have to start taking responsibility for yourselves, for ourselves on this planet. And with that, I'm going to go around and ask anyone who has closing comments. We'll start with Kev.
Just 555 over 666.
That's great. You could say a little more if you want.
Really, honestly, I know San just got to run, and I've said enough tonight. But listen, again, Rad, sorry for cutting you off earlier, but what you were talking about with the old boss thing, perfect. And again, guys, just keep doing what you are doing, because it's not just the Kev Baker show and the GoldFish report. There's other shows out there as well, like the ambassador was saying. We're all just real people, not perfect, but we're trying. Nobody can blame us for trying.
Exactly. Sanj, how about, do you have closing comments?
Just yeah, guys. Like, if you have time, please look at our old reports. Look at the. I keep saying this. Look at what the ambassador says, and look at the history that's already happened. Right? It's history now because it's already happened, but this is in the recent history. So please, 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 send it to as many people in as many languages. If you want change in your country, get it to people, because 1 in 100 person will do something about it. Right? So if you get it to 100, only one person is going to do something. So let's just get it to as many people as we can. This message, so we can have the shift and change. Powered 555 over 666.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sanj. And Radagast, did you have any
Yeah,
closing
I
comments?
would just like to ask people, yes, asking people to examine themselves, look yourself in the mirror, and most importantly, look for what isn't your own opinion. Find out where you've been programmed, because as again, there's been a meme loaded into your head that this what's happening now is just the same crooks with different masks. And as long as you keep that program in there, the goodness that is now occurring on your world that you can jump into and be a part of, you'll resist and you'll stand back because you go, oh no, this is just the same thing. You have to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are these my opinions, or are these the opinions I got from somebody else? And approach the world fresh, because there's a new world that's emerging, and it's a new order. So it will be a new world order, and divest yourself of the boogeyman, of that being a boogeyman phrase. And the new world order includes you, but you'll have to include yourself. And you can only include yourself if you step into it and remove the programming that keeps you out of it. That program was put there to keep you out of it. So please, really get a grip on yourselves and join what's happening on the world stage right now, this week, today, and be a part of it. And that's what the GoldFish Report is. It really is. We're jumping out of our goldfish bowls into the sea of greater awareness, and there is a beautiful, cleaner ocean that's being prepared to swim into. But you have to be able to see it for what it is, and not for what's been put into your heads.
Thanks, Radagast. And I have a closing comment myself, and I really just want to say that I don't really know what it's going to take for people to really, wake up. And have we not seen enough war on this planet? And I saw an article the other day where the U.S. military was asked to acquiesce to watching these young boys be molested by another government. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. And, the sanctity of life has to be the most important thing in your heart. It's so disgusting to see things like this happening on this planet. And have we just become so desensitized? We've become so used to. We've habituated to all of the war. We're so used to it. This was their plan. This was by design. That we can't let this continue. We really, what is it going to take for each and every person to realize that you've been desensitized to this, and what is going to motivate you? So like Radagast said, you have to look into the mirror and do a little soul searching and find out what's important to you. We've all been jaded by life. We've all been jaded by relationships. We've all had problems. But, does that mean you shouldn't be happy? You really have to find your happiness. And I think most people can do that through peace, not through war. So having said that, we want to thank all of our guests today, especially Kev Baker, for joining us. And we want to thank you most of all for joining us. And please post this message. Please visit us at www.goldfishreport.com, thegoldfishreport.com. I'm having an off day today. Also, cbcglobaleducation.com and globalmissionofpeace.com. You can go there. You can find out more about what we do. You can join us in our symposium, our weekly symposium, where the ambassador joins us in the symposium, and you can ask him questions. You can ask the people who are part of Global Mission of Peace any questions that you have. So we really want you to join us. Even if you don't like us, join us, because we want to be friends. So with that, thank you for joining us, and this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.